Knicks trade rumors are heating up as a Jericho Sims deal could be incoming, sending him away off the New York Knicks as the Knicks are looking to get some sort of draft compensation in return for Jericho Sims, especially with the emergence of Ariel Hukporti looking great and better than Sims. And with the Houston Rockets interested in Jericho Sims, it would be huge for the New York Knicks to try to acquire Cam Whitmore, who would help this team succeed, and we're going to break it all down. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to jump right into the video as usual. If you guys like the content, make sure to subscribe. It helps us out a ton. And it's just really we're on that push. We're on that grind. Honestly, that was not the right subscriber graphic, but we're going to move forwards anyway. It's definitely a 28, not 14. Wrong channel, but we're going to keep pushing anyway. That was for Yankees Digest, which you guys should subscribe to. However, speaking of Jericho Sims, the New York Knicks are in a very, very interesting spot. Despite the fact having one of the best starting lineups in basketball, they have one of the worst benches. Their bench does not produce a bunch of points. Tom Thibodeau does not play them. They have a bunch of big men. Some of them have been useful, some of them less so. And Jericho Sims has completely fallen out of the rotation with the New York Knicks to points where he's not playing at all. Ariel Hukporti is getting minutes over Jericho Sims, and I do believe this means that a Jericho Sims deal is incoming, as the New York Knicks tend to bench guys right before they trade him, especially when looking at a guy like Sims, who's one of the multiple big men on this lineup, and he holds the least amount of water to this current New York Knicks team. The Knicks love Ariel Hukporti a lot. They see a future in Hukporti, and because of that, what we are seeing is the New York Knicks, according to Ian Begley, be more open to trading Sims so they can move forwards with Hukporti as their third-string center, while having Karl-Anthony Towns and Precious Achiuwa on the roster, while the Knicks try to figure out a way to get some sort of forward on their bench who would help them win games. The Knicks are good, don't get me wrong, they're a really good team, but twice now we've seen Ariel Hukporti play over Jericho Sims. The Knicks no longer need Jericho Sims. Jericho Sims is better off somewhere else, and the Knicks do need a wing off the bench or a forward off the bench to help get some baskets and help create their own shots. And it seems like trading Jericho Sims is something the Knicks are looking into doing, according to Ian Begley, who did say that the Knicks will continue to pick up the phone and hear teams out for Jericho Sims leading up into the trade deadline. And he also said that he does know there are some fans of Sims in the Rockets organization, but anything specific between the Knicks and the Rockets, Begley doesn't have anything on that. He would expect them to hear out the market on Jericho Sims. The New York Knicks would not be getting much for Jericho Sims. They'd probably get like a second-round pick, and it would probably have a protection on it. Sims has not put up the best numbers this season. He looks completely uncomfortable playing offense at all. He's terrified to make a mistake. Mike Breen has even pointed it out on the broadcast that Sims is just playing to not mess up on the offensive end, and it's made him just ruined his confidence, and that's ruined Thibodeau's confidence in Jericho. We've seen this happen before. We saw Quentin Grimes lose his confidence, and the Knicks moved him. Now Grimes is doing great in Dallas, and he actually might end up switching teams again. But Quentin Grimes is doing better. There's a world where Jericho Sims getting moved would help out his career a bunch, and I think it would help out the Knicks as well. Now, as we know, the Knicks will continue to pick up the phone and hear teams out on Jericho Sims. However, here's the question. What does that mean? Are the Knicks looking to trade him? They understand that Jericho Sims' value is not very high. They understand they're not getting a bunch back for Jericho Sims. They wanted 2 second-round picks in return for him. They're probably not going to get that. They'd be able to get one, maybe a heavily protected second one as well. But outside of that, they're not really going to get much for Big Jerry after all. Sims this season will make that bigger. Sims this season is averaging 1.7 points and 3.6 rebounds per game. The shot blocking is all right. The defense has been solid. The rebounding hasn't been terrible. It feels like he was supposed to make a jump this season that just did not happen. He worked heavily with Mike Bibby in the offseason, trying to get better, trying to become a more complete offensive player, and we just have not seen that at all out of Jericho Sims. And it feels like if that were to happen at this point, it would be on a different team. The Knicks don't throw a bunch of lobs. Jericho Sims would benefit hugely from a team that throws more lobs. The Knicks also just have a lot of big men. They have Karl-Anthony Towns, who's been the best player on the team this season. They like Precious Achiuwa a lot, who gets minutes over Sims. They have a future good player in Ariel Hukporti, who Tom Thibodeau today said has a very bright future in the NBA. The Knicks are big fans of Hukporti as well, and that leaves Jericho as the odd man out when the Knicks are in dire straits, trying to get some form of help on that offensive end, especially off the bench when it comes to shot creation. Now, Sims, the numbers have not really changed throughout his career. I mean, he's put up more points per game in other seasons than what we've seen recently. It feels like he's just now really not doing much on offense at all. And then you look at a guy like Ariel Hukporti, who's per 36 minutes. Mind you, these are Jericho Sims' per 36 minutes, I should mention. But, like, it's just very underwhelming. And Hukporti puts up per 36, 8 and 8. Sims is not pulling that off. It's just very clear who the better big man is in this situation. It's Ariel Hukporti. I do believe the Knicks have decided that they understand that Jericho Sims is not someone who's going to be with them for much longer. Sims is a free agent at the end of this season, and with that happening, it is likely that he would just walk anyway to a team with less of a logjam at the big man position so he could try to get a consistent role in the NBA before his time is up. Meanwhile, the Knicks, Hukporti is also a free agent at the end of this season. He's on a contract that is non-guaranteed. The Knicks are going to decline that and then sign him to a longer-term 3 or 4 year deal because they believe heavily in Hukporti and want to get him locked up for long-term, cheap money before they see the Hukporti breakout. And I don't think he's going to break out if the Knicks start playing up a bunch of minutes yet, but I do think he's getting better. I mean, his issue more stems with it just feels like he's still trying to figure everything out on how to be a big man in the NBA. He's played professional basketball for years overseas, but it's a different game, and now he's in the NBA, and things are a little bit different. He doesn't guard pick and rolls the exact way that Tom Thibodeau likes him to. He doesn't force guys to the baseline, which is called icing it. And because of that, there has been a limited amount that we've seen Hukporti play. He's looked a little raw and maybe even a bit rusty still from that Achilles injury he suffered a while back. But he did miss a bunch of time playing professional basketball. So even though he's 23 years old, he's a young 23, where he hasn't gotten a bunch of experience playing yet. And once that experience continues to grow, we're going to see Hukporti as a player continue to grow. And I think that he's got a very bright future with the New York Knicks. I think it's not this season. Next season, I do think we'll see more Hukporti. I think that it's now the Knicks don't want him to break out, and then they have to pay him more. I think they like having him as the third string center. He's also a rookie. The Knicks are a contending team. He was the 58th pick. Most contending teams aren't playing the 58th pick in the draft. It doesn't mean Hukporti's never going to play. It just means as of right now, he's not really going to get big minutes. I don't expect Precious Achiuwa to be on the New York Knicks next season as well. So with that being said, I think it clears up room for Hukporti. I've been vocal that I don't think Mitchell Robinson is long for the Knicks. I don't think he's getting traded during this season, but I do think over the offseason or at the trade deadline next year in 2026, we will see the Knicks move Mitchell Robinson before he hits free agency because I do believe he's not going to stick around with the Knicks having to pay other guys, but it all does depend on the price on Mitchell Robinson. Some team would be willing to overpay him more than the Knicks would want to pay him, so the Knicks, before they have that happen to him, will probably move him. Now, that leads to Hukporti getting minutes, and the New York Knicks, they need to find a way to make a deal that works out for everyone. Now, Leon Rose, he's made a trade literally every single season. He's been the Knicks president of basketball operations. He's always made a move, and he's made it before the deadline, whether it's been Josh Hart, Cam Reddish, Derrick Rose, OG Anunoby. Like, there's been a bunch of moves. Now, they also did make a deadline move last season, trading Evan Fournier, Malachi Flynn, and Quentin Grimes for Alec Burks and Bojan Bogdanovic. Now, the Knicks, they won't make a big move like that. Again, they don't have the assets to do it. If they were to trade the most tradable contract on their team, that does involve moving Mitch when his value's lower because he still has not returned from his ankle injury from the surgery he got. So I do think what we'll see is the Knicks move Jericho Sims and maybe package someone else to try to get a player like a Cam Whitmore. Whitmore might be available via trade as he's causing the Rockets some issues. He's not happy there. He's vocal about not being happy there. And it's caused some issues with the Houston Rockets. Now, the Knicks might not want to take someone who might be a head case. They try to avoid that the best that they can, so they might avoid Whitmore. But Whitmore has been a solid player, and the Knicks... Now, Whitmore makes more money than Jericho Sims, so the Knicks would have to get a little bit, interesting with it to figure out a way to make all that money work. However, Brock Aller, the Knicks vice president, is very, very good at doing that. So I imagine they'd be able to figure it out. Or you could move Precious Achiuwa towards the Rockets. If the Rockets like Sims, they might like Achiuwa as well. If Mitchell Robinson seems healthy, maybe the Knicks are more open to that. The Knicks could trade Sims and Pacome.ea and get back Whitmore and some draft capital. That could be a move as well the Knicks might look into. There is some concerns about the Knicks rookies right now, so it might have something to do with, or it might lead to the New York Knicks being interested in making a trade, moving one of them away. Now, Whitmore on the season, the three-point shooting sticks out because it's only 30%, but in the corner, he's shooting 44% on threes. The Knicks love corner threes. He also averages 9 points and 2.5 rebounds per game. He would be an interesting player that I think would play better with the Knicks if he bought into the Knicks system, tried to win on a contending team where he got consistent minutes. They wouldn't be the most minutes, but they would be consistent. He's from Villanova. The Knicks like that Villanova Knicks thing they got going, obviously, with a bunch of Villanova players on the roster over the last couple seasons now. Whitmore did not play with these guys, but still, that Villanova connection will be there. It would be an interesting move to see happen, but I do want to know about what you guys think. Do you guys think Jericho Sims is going to get traded? If so, what do you want to trade him for? Let me know in the comments down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day, and go Knicks.